come in, sir?
Please. Have a seat.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon,
Good
sir.
afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Please have a seat.
Thank you, sir.
So, Vijay Lakshmi,
Yes, sir.
please introduce yourself.
Sir, my name is Vijay Lakshmi. I come from Fatehabad district of Haryana. I have done my graduation in BCom LLB from Punjab University, Chandigarh. And so currently I am pursuing Masters of Law from Punjab University itself. Sir.
Okay. Your optional is law.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you read today's newspaper?
So I have read the front page as of now.
What is the top headline which you can recall?
So the Honorable Supreme Court has set up an inquiry committee against the Delhi High Court judge in whose house the cash was found day before yesterday.
What issue do you see with this process of inquiry? Okay, let me rephrase. Should judges be judging over the cases involving fellow judge?
Sir, it involves two perspectives, sir. So first is to ensure independence of judiciary. But sir, on the other hand, we also need to ensure the accountability of each of the organ of the state. And so for that matter, sir, I believe the in-house inquiry system could be made more democratic by including the executive or the other organs of the state to make it more transparent, sir.
Okay. There are any legislation you can recall around that?
So Judges Inquiry Act is there, which deals with the misbehavior or incapacity against a particular judge. And so it provides the procedure of removal of that particular judge.
Okay. Let's change the direction. What do you understand by free trade agreement?
So the free trade agreements are arrangement between the nations wherein they identify certain product lines in which the tariffs are reduced by both the nations to enable the free flow of the goods and services.
Okay. India is currently discussing FTA with several countries. Can you name some?
So one is New Zealand, so another is European Union, and so the United Kingdom also.
Okay. With New Zealand, what are the major tariff lines or major items of trade?
Sir, I'm not exactly sure of the exact product lines with the New Zealand. But sir, I believe there are issues with respect to agriculture and dairy products on which there is apprehension between the both.
Okay. New Zealand has a very renowned dairy industry. And you come from a state which is also known for its dairy products, right? What is your stand if we allow New Zealand to export its dairy product to India? What are the challenges you see for domestic producers?
So in India, I would say the farmers are not as much developed as in the New Zealand. And so the per capita subsidy also is very less in India as compared to the developed nation. So sir, I think a phased approach can be taken wherein first we need to build the capacity of our own farmers and the dairy industry. And so after that, by adding the value in the products, we can go for phased and gradual opening of the sector, sir.
And but we had an Operation Flood. You heard about Operation Flood?
Yes, sir.
That was around development of dairy industry only.
Yes, sir.
And it was way back, more than 50 years back. So do you think we should all still say we need to give protection? It's been a while. Okay. What kind of protection or support do you think government should do? And for how long?
So in terms of support, I would say the focus on capacity development should be done. So wherein the dairy sector can be made more competitive in terms of increasing the research and development in the sector and improving the breeds and the products from our own dairy sector. And so apart from that, improving the sanitary and phytosanitary measures in our dairy sector. So these are the areas which needs to be worked upon. And so simultaneously, we need to strengthen the farmers by establishing the collectives in which they can have a good bargaining power, sir.
Okay. And how long should we fix a timeline? That, okay, these supports or these measures will have a limited period. And by that time, our industry have to develop itself on its own feet. Do you think there should be a timeline?
So providing a timeline would set a goal for ourselves, and it would help us to assess the progress which we have made. So it can definitely help in that way. But so we need to be flexible also with respect to the timelines.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Vijayalakshmi. Your name is very good. Who was Vijayalakshmi?
So from India, Vijayalakshmi Pandit was the first women president of the United Nations General Assembly, sir.
Okay. If I say one statement, let there peace in the word rather than word into the pieces. What does it mean?
So it means that the nations should foster peace and inclusivity amongst themselves rather than going for the fragmentation and so we need to uphold the rule-based world order, which would ensure the integrity of each of the nation states.
Rule-based order or something, if someone is saying peace lies under the ballot of gun.
So that can be one perspective, sir, when the other party is not able to uphold the values which are being present. So, sir, in that case, I believe the nations have this right to go for this particular method. But, sir, the first and foremost should always be the non-violent means of attaining peace, sir.
Okay. Are you aware about blue helmets?
Yes, sir, I have heard this.
What are these blue helmets? Any guess?
So if I may take a guess, I have heard the name, but I might not be exactly sure, sir.
Okay.
So with respect to UN peacekeeping forces,
yes, exactly. They are called as UN blue helmets. So what is the contribution of India in UN peacekeeping missions?
So one would be the inclusion of the women in the peacekeeping forces, even in the countries such as Sudan. And so apart from that, I am not exact sure of the percentage to which India contributes, but it must be in the top performers, sir.
Yes, India is the highest that country which is sending highest number of troops for UN peacekeeping. Okay, you have also published a paper on Israel and Hamas conflict.
Yes, sir.
You have written that. What is the current development which is going on in Israel and Hamas?
So from last 2 months, a ceasefire agreement was brokered between the Palestine and Israel. But sir, the first phase has been completed and the agreement on second phase has not yet started. And so as of today, Israel has put airstrikes on the Lebanon side.
Mm-hmm. So he's wrong in this entire conflict. If you take some side.
So it would be difficult to take a side, sir, because this conflict has historical connotations based on the territorial dispute.
If Hamas returned all those, the persons who has got by them, if he returned all these individuals, then it can be easily, some ceasefire or some treaty will come.
So that can certainly help in coming with the treaty. But so the ultimate objective of Israel is to eliminate the Hamas. So, sir, also with respect to the territories which have been acquired by the Israel, so these would be the contentious issues which need to be resolved for the ultimate or the permanent peace between the nations.
And UN, what do you think that UN is, losing its relevance? So, what is your take on that? If someone is saying that UN is losing its relevance today,
sir. Partially, I would agree to this statement, sir, because even in Israel, Palestine and Russia, Ukraine, we have seen that UN has not been able to live up to the mandate for which it was formed. But sir, it still provides for a negotiation table and also the peacekeeping forces that does play a huge role in eliminating the casualties between the nations. So, sir, I think reforms in UN can be something which can increase its efficacy in the longer run.
Okay, thank you, Vijayalakshmi.
Thank you, sir.
Vijayalakshmi.
Yes, sir.
Why not a lawyer or a judge?
So my initial motivation was to join civil services only since my school time. And so for that, I have pursued law as my graduation so that I would be able to understand legal mechanism in a much better way and also it would provide me a sound backup if I do not succeed, sir.
So, but why not a judicial office has ever appealed to you? What is the reason?
So executive works at the forefront, I believe, and judiciary comes into play when right has been breached. So my inclination is to work on that front where I can make difference in the lives of people by implementing the policies which are present and
But
upholding
don't you
the
think
rights.
judge plays a bigger role in that perspective
So
by
certainly, sir.
having a judicial review?
So certainly, sir, judiciary is one of the noble profession which we have. But sir, it was only the motivation to have larger public dealing and to work on the ground. So that
Okay.
was my main intention. Sir.
What is your comment on the desirability of All India Judicial Service?
Sir, I would support All India Judicial Services, sir. So as at present, we have huge vacancies in the subordinate judiciary, which leads to dependency of cases and inefficacy in the system. And sir, All India Judicial Services would streamline the process of recruitment and it would bring about uniformity. But sir, we also need to address the concerns which the high courts as well as states have with respect to the use of the language uh, so with respect to the federal powers. So by having a consultative mechanism, so it can be reformed according to the needs of both the parties.
You interned at Haryana State Information Commission.
Yes, sir.
Is it a statutory body?
Yes, sir. It has been established under Right to Information Act, sir.
Section you are aware about?
So section 14, 15, around 15.
Just explain it to me in 2 lines. Doctrine of pith and substance.
So doctrine of pith and substance is one of the interpretational tool which the courts have, wherein the ultimate substance of a particular act for which it has been formed, that is being reviewed. And so that whether it lies in the state list or the union list.
Any recent judgment where Supreme Court applied that?
Sir, I am unable
That's
to
okay,
think of
that's
any
okay.
judgment, sir.
Again, in 1 line, what does Article 141 says?
Sir, I believe it is.
Yeah, please.
So it is with respect to the President or the Supreme Court's judgments which are binding on the all other courts.
So do you know how many opinions were there in Keshwananda Bharati judgment? How many judgments were written? It's a 13-judge bench?
Yes, sir.
You remember?
Sir, I am exactly not sure of the judgment.
That's okay. That's okay. Can you tell me the difference between international war crime and crime against humanity? What is the basic difference? I think your project was on international war crimes.
Yes, sir. So in war crimes, the basic thing is that they are in violation of the Geneva Conventions, which violates the rules of proportionality, distinction, as well as reasonableness. Wherein, sir, crimes against humanity can be committed in war crimes as well. But crime against humanity is a narrower concept, and I would say war crimes is a much broader.
So is it defined somewhere?
Yes, sir. Sir, all these have been defined in Geneva Convention, sir, and even in ICC statute they have been mentioned.
Okay. Can you tell me the difference between common law and civil law?
So common law mainly talks about the judge-made laws, sir, which were being prevalent in the United Kingdom and all. And so civil law stems from the statutes which we have. So that's the primary difference.
Any other difference?
Sir,
so majority, 60% countries of the world follow civil law.
Yes, majority follow civil law, and in India we follow a hybrid model, sir, wherein we have civil law as well as the power of judiciary to have judicial review and to lay down the precedents.
Okay. Can you tell me the difference between full court, full bench and a constitution bench?
Sir, I am aware about the constitution bench.
What does it mean?
So it means having minimum 5 judges which decides upon the cases of interpretation of the
So is it mentioned in our constitution?
Yes, I believe in Article 145 it is being
Okay.
mentioned.
So let's suppose if a 3-judge bench of Supreme Court is sitting, that bench cannot decide any constitutional question.
So that can decide, I believe. But sir, I think I need to look into. So I'll
Okay.
read about it.
So my last question. So tomorrow, let's suppose you are an IS officer and you have a case relating to your promotion. In which court will you file that case?
So it would go in the central administrative tribunals.
And what is the jurisdiction of that tribunal?
So it has jurisdiction over the central employees of all India services as well as civil servants.
And if you are an officer of Haryana Civil Services, where will you file it?
So in state administrative tribunal.
Is there a state administrative tribunal in your state?
Sir, I am not exactly sure,
That's
sir.
Thank you.
Miss Vijayalakshmi, it is said that our laws, especially justice, is more tilted towards male and rationality, less tilted towards female and emotions, rather ignores emotions specially. I give you one example. Suppose a mother wants to give more to one of his children, like, male or female, whatever. Whereas court of law says, because justice is based on the balancing equality and liberty, if you see the philosophy of justice. So mother says that I want to give more to this child because he or she has helped me or served me for many years. Whereas, and she dies. After that, what happens? In her will, she writes that my son should get more. Okay. Other son challenges that will and goes to court and says that it's against the principle of equality. It's against the principle of justice, that as I am a son or daughter, I should get equal amount. So, and one of the thinkers in Western countries say that is why she said that law is against emotions, more towards rationality, as if human being is a machine. What is your take on it?
So the proposition which you mentioned, sir, I think as per the law, the testament or the will which has been laid down, it governs the division of the property. And sir, I think...
or in simple language, if I ask that various laws or legal norms take care of rational criteria, not emotional criteria. It ignores compassion, love, care. These things are ignored. These things do not have a place in law. Whereas anything which is quantitative, quantitative criterion is taken, given extra edge. Human being is not just machine. Human being is not just rational. Human being is having, rather the human being is more emotional, more loving, more caring than more rational. Rationality is additional criterion, isn't it?
Yes.
So what is your take on, especially on justice? That is why Indian philosophy says there is a difference between justice and nyaya.
So what I can comprehend, sir, I think laws need to be very specific and rational. So because emotions are something which can lead to subjective decision making, sir. And it might be the case that it might be used arbitrary as well. So our prime focus has always been to make laws more rational and specific. But sir, however, I do not think that we totally ignore the societal concept. So for instance, while granting the punishment, we have the concept of reformative justice instead of retributive. So it does take care of the background of any person. So in that case, I think it tries to balance, but rationality is something which takes foremost steps.
Okay. Can you give any example where any particular act is immoral but legal, or illegal but moral?
So can I take few seconds
Yes.
to think, sir? Sorry, sir, I am unable to think of any illegal law as of now, sir.
No, I mean say immoral law. That is immoral, but it is very much legal. There is no legal hindrances in that. And there are certain things which are immoral, moral, but illegal.
So when it comes to immoral but legal, so initially we had section 497 of the IPC which dealt with adultery. And so at present we also have marital rape, sir. That is yet not been criminalized.
So, do you think adultery is immoral? And has it been legalized now?
No, so initially it was. So initially it differentiated between men and women who had committed the adultery. So it only punished one party. So in that sense, although it was legal for one but illegal for another one, but also it was an immoral act to have.
Okay, if you are made chief minister of Haryana for 5 days, what would be your priorities in those 5 days? Haryana is known for gender inequality as well. Haryana is known for material prosperity as well. Haryana is known for sports capital of the country as well. So keeping these three things in mind, what would be your priorities?
So although Haryana is known for all these things, but there have been strides to improve the gender parity. And so my first focus would be to monitor the ongoing schemes, for instance, the Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, and to have a strict implementation of the same. And so second priority would be with respect to the youth in terms of increasing their employment avenues, and also to curb the drug menace which we are witnessing in Haryana. And so apart from that, I would try to work on the agriculture front as well, wherein the farmers can adopt for more diversified crops and it can lead to increase in their income.
Okay, thank you.
Vijay Lakshmi, you mentioned that you practice mindfulness through meditation. What exactly do you do?
Ma'am, it is a kind of Vipassana meditation wherein I observe the breathing patterns as well as the thoughts which are coming to my mind. So around 20 to 25 minutes, I sit in a relaxed position and I focus on the breathing as well as thought patterns.
Just like entailing question to this, is it necessary about the popular perception of sitting in a room and doing it is what is called meditation, or you can do mindfulness meditation during the day-to-day activities also?
Ma'am, sitting in a room, I believe it is the first step to enhance our focus. But if we are trained in that, we can apply this mindfulness in our day-to-day activities as well.
Okay. You've also been, you've mentioned about studying inmates' conditions in Patiala. It's led a delegation to the central jail. Can you tell me more about this?
Yes, ma'am. It was a one-day delegation wherein we went there to study the jail conditions. And ma'am, we witnessed both positive as well as challenges which were being faced by the inmates. Ma'am, talking about the challenges first, ma'am, the women and the transgenders were kept in the same barrack. And it shows that the jail premises are not inclusive as of now. And second is with respect to the health. Ma'am, the women inmates did not had access to the gynecologist at proper time. So that was another issue. And third was with respect to overcrowding and the number of under trials which were being present there. Ma'am, but apart from that, we also seen that the jail authorities have taken step with respect to improving the livelihood conditions. So for instance, we had various manufacturing units inside the jail premises. Saving schemes were also being run for the inmates. So ma'am, these were the few positive as well as challenging parts.
Tell me something. You've been staying in Chandigarh. Why do you choose to work in Haryana and not Punjab?
Ma'am, in terms of Information Commission, are you talking about?
I'm talking about administrative services. You've chosen to be placed in Haryana. Why not Punjab? You've been staying in Chandigarh. Why affinity towards Haryana more than, let's say, Punjab? Punjab has the need of so much of, important leadership people who are unbiased, and there's so many issues there. Why Haryana? Why not Punjab?
Ma'am, Haryana is my home state, and it is only like from past 7 years that I have been living in Chandigarh for my graduation. But as I have seen the conditions in Haryana and I am more acquainted with those, and also it being my home state, it was the natural choice of selection for me, ma'am.
Okay. There's a very popular statement: "Justice delayed is justice denied." What's your take on that?
Ma'am, certainly justice should not only be done, but it should be done at a proper time. And if it gets delays, it defeats the whole purpose, because the victim suffers a lot in addition to the crime which had happened against him. So, ma'am, to ensure timely justice, I think the delays needs to be addressed in the judicial system, ma'am.
You think in India it's applicable?
Ma'am, there are gaps as of now, but I think we are working to eliminate those. And by increasing the overall criminal justice system's efficacy, we can achieve this particular thing. But we need to have various interventions for that. For instance, enhancing our judicial capacity, limiting on the adjournments, and also strengthening the ADR mechanisms, and integration of the technology and forensics in the investigation.
Okay, good. The attire which you're wearing, can you talk about that?
Ma'am, this is a bamboo silk sari, ma'am. And ma'am, I have bought it from Delhi Hart. So it is a handloom material. Ma'am, I think this is the only thing which I know as of now.
Delhi Hart has been a very common pot boiler for a lot of artisans and handicrafts. And recently, there is a lot of emphasis being laid on vocal for local. What's your take on that?
Ma'am, vocal for local would promote our domestic manufacturing as well as the industrial capabilities. And it would give space to the artisans who does not have that level of capital in which they can compete. So it would help to enhance their skill as well as increase the capacity of their organization.
Okay, my last question to you. You've also mentioned art journaling. In the current context of artificial intelligence and, a lot of the science and tech has been advanced, a physical model of art journaling is helpful.
Yes, ma'am. I have been a person who prefer more the physical mode of doing things. For instance, reading from the books and writing down in the notebook. So it has been my habit to pen down my thoughts in the journal, and I feel it more personalized, and I can connect more with this particular method.
But now paper is becoming a very rare commodity. There are a lot of countries who are, not able to make newspapers because paper is a rare commodity now. In that time and era when people are switching to AI for, using iPads and all of these gadgets, you think is it practical?
Ma'am, as far as as of now, it is practical for me. But I think as time changes, I would also adopt to the further modern means, ma'am.
Thank you, Vijayalakshmi.
Vijayalakshmi, tell us something about the current status of India-Bangladesh relationship.
So due to the regime change in Bangladesh, there are friction points in India-Bangladesh relationship, wherein, sir, we have given asylum to Sheikh Hasina and Bangladesh is asking for its extradition. But, sir, India has its own concern with respect to that. So first, an elected government is not present in Bangladesh. And second, we do not have a clear extradition treaty with Bangladesh, sir, in my knowledge.
Was India right in providing asylum to the ex-president of Bangladesh?
Sir, I would say international relations are governed on a more pragmatic approach. And the historical ties which we had with Bangladesh and the regime which Sheikh Hasina has headed, I think it is in interest of India to grant asylum to the person.
Okay. There were also some news reports that the previous US government was more accommodative to the regime change. Have you heard something on that?
No, sir, I am not aware of it. So
and with the change in your current USA government, Do you see any comments, any changes in the position of Bangladesh government?
Sir, I have to read more on it, sir.
Okay,
I'm
no
not
problem.
yet completely aware.
Tell me something. What do you understand by monetary policy?
So the monetary policy is being governed by the Reserve Bank of India, wherein it increases or decreases the rates of the lending in the banks, due to which it can increase or decrease the liquidity of the money in the market.
What is the main target of main task of a monetary policy?
So one is to have a balanced inflation rate that is around 4%. And second is to maintain growth and to ensure adequate liquidity in the markets.
What is the current inflation level? You have any idea?
So it is around 3%, sir.
3%. So this is within comfortable zone?
Yes, sir. We have a target of around 4% and plus minus 2% is allowed, sir.
Okay, plus minus 2%. So if inflation is 1%, what are the implications?
Sir, I think in economy, a certain level of inflation is required to have a growth which we are targeting for. And so if we go for 1% of inflation, so it might show that the consumption or the growth activities has decreased. So
Okay.
it might hint towards a more recessionist phase.
And what should RBI or Monetary Policy Committee should do in that scenario?
So it can reduce the repo rates, due to
Mhm.
which the liquidity can increase in market. And so it can boost consumption. And so further it can lead to the increase in interest rates. So that can, I believe,
Okay.
tackle inflation.
Okay. Thank you, Jayalakshmi. We'll call you back in a minute.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. May I come in,
Please,
sir?
please have a seat.
Thank you, sir.
How do you assess your performance, Jayalakshmi?
So it was better than the previous mocks which I have given, but still I think there are certain
Now you are
areas of
replying to
improvement.
this, you are smiling. Smile is there in your face.
Yes,
And
sir.
had you maintained this smile earlier also, it would have
yes,
been lot better. Still, it is very good.
sir. Okay,
We
sir.
all are unanimously of the opinion that your performance was very good, right? But that thing was missing, right? So your interview is on
So
8th,
fourth year.
4th April.
Yes.
Okay, so you have like 10 days, roughly
Yes.
10 days. So answers are up to the mark. Okay. Your knowledge is good. Your presentation is good apart from the smile part, right? So आप अपना video भी देखेंगे, you will realize it. You just see this part and the previous part, you will find the difference, and you can feel that if you keep this face, तो आपका marks will be boosted dramatically. ठीक है? Any further question from your side? One more, ma'am. Will you like to?
Can you sit straight? सीधा बैठो. थोड़ा सा और सीधा बैठो. हाँ, now you're looking good. Don't hunch. You're so graceful. You're tall. Sit straight. Now you're looking confident. Learn to sit straight. Okay. Now you're looking like you should look. When you're hunching, you're not looking confident. You're answering very well, but जब आप hunch करते हो, you're looking less confident. You're tall. You should learn to sit straight. And from an IAS officer, we expect confidence, leadership skills, right? So be dynamic. What you're speaking is very good. Okay, and accessorize thoda bahut. You're looking very plain. It's a beautiful sari you're wearing. Wear a nice sari like this. But when you go, thoda baal अच्छे से बना के dress up properly and accessorize. Put something in your maybe neck or hand. You look good. थोड़ा mild accessory. कोई भी पतला सा कुछ in your hand and in your neck.
वो जो thread है, the thread around your.
Yes, sir. I'll remove it,
I'll
sir.
remove it and.
ने क्वेश्चन पूछा था कि एक्स्ट्राडिशन ऑफ एक्स प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ बांग्लादेश, आपने क्या आंसर दिया था?
You have to catch. There is no ex-president.
शी वाज एक्स प्राइम मिनिस्टर. तो कभी कभी ना ऐसे क्वेश्चन जानबूझ के पूछे जाएंगे, तो जस्ट बी अलर्ट. स्माइल कर दीजिए कि यस, एक्स प्राइम मिनिस्टर.
चलिए, anything from your side? Any questions?
No, sir. I think this was the feedback which I have received like many times, that I don't smile. I don't know. I forgot
You
to do
smile.
that.
You are smiling. But
Yes,
at
while
the time of interview, you should also extend this smile to interview board as well.
I mean, it will be even more pleasant. And to my questions also with respect to law, also you answered really well. Just a slight, like when I asked you about Article 141, so you know it, right? You can directly say the law by the Supreme Court will be binding on all the high courts or subordinate courts. Other than that, you like gave a GS type of answer saying that it's a precedent and all.
doctrine
that-
of stare
yeah, yeah.
decisis, I should have said.
I mean, that's
sir.
an offshoot of that. Basic
Yes,
thing
sir.
is that you can, because since you are a lawyer that way, rest everything was very fine, very balanced.
See, you are hunching again.
Sir, I'll practice
नहीं,
this.
but you shouldn't be. Practice करो, but that shouldn't affect your replies also. You have to balance that thing.
थोड़ा 10 दिन इसी को प्रैक्टिस कर लो. You don't need to give more mocks. Honestly, you are very good. ज़्यादा mocks दोगे ज़्यादा feedbacks मिलेंगे. So practice on your sitting posture and how you are carrying your body. You're so much into mindfulness. You can do that easily. Meditation वगैरह करते हो सीधे बैठते हो ना. So interview में सीधे बैठने में क्या problem है? And this is a quality. You don't take it. A lot of times what happens in females, because of patriarchal setup, we tend to hunch. So don't take it otherwise. Take it as a quality that you're tall, so you can afford to sit straight and look more graceful.
And ma'am, with respect to sari, like should I wear this one or I have one lighter color as well? So
This is
should I
fine.
want-
You can
This is
wear
fine.
lighter color also. It's fine. This is also professional. थोड़ा सा बिंदी लगा लेना. बहुत plain लग रहे हो. थोड़ा सा just look a little more presentable. And साड़ी, this is okay. This is a fine साड़ी, no problem. But इसका जो आपने draping करा है ना, you're tall, so you need to drape it in a manner that your the remaining half of the साड़ी थोड़ा सा लंबा हो. वो आपकी
yes.
height के हिसाब से वो छोटा है अभी.
Yes.
So drape it in a manner that it is proportional. Your palla should be touching your knee from the back. So just drape it in the manner that it looks fine. अभी पीछे से छोटा लग रहा है.
Yes, ma'am. Today I draped it myself. So
हाँ,
that's
तो
why.
वो थोड़ा ठीक से कर लेना. ये पहनो तो भी ठीक है, लाइटर पहनो तो भी ठीक है.
Okay.
ठीक है. You're a very good candidate. You will do well.
Thank you so much.
All the
Chali,
best.
all the
Thank you.
best from our side.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.